Hello, we are live. Okay, I'm just pulling up my stuff here and then we'll get into it. Okay, hi guys, happy Friday. And if you're new here, welcome to the Rebellious Entrepreneurs Facebook group. This group, as you already know, is for virtual assistants and online service providers. Can be if you are already a virtual assistant or you just have interest in becoming one or learning more about it or whatever, if you want tips, tricks, advice, if you want people to talk to, a community, all of that, this Facebook group is for. So, happy Friday. I might have said that already. It's already the weekend. This week went by so freaking fast for me. I don't know what you guys are up to this weekend. Hopefully something fun. Oh, sorry. Facebook's like giving me notifications. Okay. We are going to, what are we doing this? Oh, we're going to salt mines. There's something to do in Kansas, like one of the only things, apparently one of the top rated things to do in Kansas. So we're going to go check that out on Sunday. And then tomorrow I am having a girls' night to celebrate a friend's birthday. So that's kind of my weekend plans. Might hang out by the pool, soak up some sunshine. So hopefully you guys have some fun plans too. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sarah Beth, or you can call me SB if that's easier for you. And I am an online business coach who helps new and growing virtual assistants and other service providers grow sustainable and profitable businesses in their own way. Meaning in a way that works for their, like the lifestyle they're living right now, their schedule, all of that. So let's get into it. Today we are talking about boundaries for your virtual assistant or other online business. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are basically non-negotiable rules you put in place to protect yourself not only from clients, but from you. So once you set a boundary, you draw a line, okay? So you're drawing that line and you don't cross it and you don't let your clients cross it. And you would think like, oh yeah, it's gonna be harder working with the clients. That's usually not the case. It's usually you who has the problem not crossing that boundary. Because you have to set, like, it's up to you. You're the boss of this business, right? So it is up to you to enforce these boundaries with these clients. And if you let it slip, and if you let it slip with yourself, then you are responsible. So it's definitely just like, it's completely up to you whether you can, whether these boundaries work for you, your business or not. So you have to, why are boundaries important? So we create boundaries to avoid exhaustion and burnout and really resentment towards clients, because if we don't put these boundaries in place and we don't maintain them, sometimes it can come back. Clients get angry if you try to enforce them later, and then you have that like resentment towards your clients. We'll talk about that a little more later when we're talking about communicating this to clients, but you have to maintain the boundaries, because if you aren't maintaining them, then there's literally no point of creating them. So make sure you don't forget the maintain part, not just the creation part. Okay, so boundaries to set. Let me take a sip of coffee. Does anyone else, am I just a weird one? Like, does anybody else, like I got a coffee yesterday afternoon after leaving the coffee shop, like an extra, a bonus coffee, and I didn't finish it, so I just put it in the fridge overnight. And then I put it over ice today. Does anybody else like drink leftover coffee, or is that weird? Because Tyler, my husband, thought it was weird, but whatever. It's still delicious. So, okay, back to it. So some boundaries to set. The first one you want to set is time. If you don't set time constraints, you will be working nonstop. Some of you who have already started your businesses, you are well aware of this. You've been there. I've been there. You should not be available 24/7 for any client, and you also shouldn't be working 24/7 on your business either. We are humans. We need breaks. We need downtime. So it's important to set these boundaries and be productive during the times you are working, so you don't have to feel like you need to work. You may even feel like you need to work after hours, but you don't, because I'm telling you, it'll lead to a lot of burnout and just it'll drain your energy. So within times, we want to set boundaries around a few things. So working times. So my hours of availability are with clients are Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this is with my coaching clients and then with my clients that I do course setups for as well. So Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4, I choose these times because I like to take Friday off. I take it as a flex day to work in my business. And then I also take weekends off and holidays off. Like, my weekends are off. Like, nobody is nobody is contacting me, or if they do, like, my notifications are off. I'm not responding to them. If I do any work on the weekend, it's sometimes in my own business, but that's only if I have, like, maybe a launch or something coming up, or I fell behind on a task or something like that. But I do not work. For the most part, I usually do not work during weekends or during holidays. So you need to decide, are you going to take Fridays off? Are you going to work Monday through Friday? And what are those times you're going to be available? And notice I said available. This doesn't mean times I am, we'll talk about that in a minute, but this doesn't mean like I'm available all day that day to respond to you like whenever you need. So, along with hours and days of availability, you need to set boundaries around time off. So vacations and weeks off. I know we talked about holidays, but are there special dates like your anniversary or your birthday or your husband's birthday or your spouse's birthday that you want to take off? Make sure those are communicated as well. And then also vacations. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to take 2 weeks off during the holidays during December, and I take 2 full weeks off in the summer. This doesn't mean you have to take vacation only during those times, because this is your business, right? You are the boss of this business. So you get to decide whenever you want to take vacation. But if you have 2 like specific weeks, or something consistent, like I take 2 weeks off during the holidays, 2 weeks off during summer, that should be communicated up front as well, and make sure you're setting and maintaining that boundary too. And then what time will you stop working? So what time, not just what time are you going to be done in your client's business. Say you want to work 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in your client's business, and then you want to work on your business after that. But for how long? You can't just be like, okay, well, I'm going to work on my business after I'm done with my client work. You need to set a time boundary, because you could work on your business all night and then you could ignore other things in your life and get burnt out, and we don't want to do that. So set a time boundary on you as well. So maybe you're going to work till 5 p.m. on your business, or 6 p.m., or you're going to work for 2 hours or something like that. Set that time boundary for you. And not just your clients. Okay. Turnaround times. If you guys, I don't think I mentioned that, but if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments and we'll answer as we go, or I can answer them at the end, whatever you want. Okay, so turnaround times. When can when can clients expect you to complete a new task? They give you a new task, and they're like, hey, this needs, I need this, and this done. ASAP should not be an option at all. It should not be like, oh yeah, I'll get to it right away, or as soon as you send it to me, like, I got it. No, that should not be an option. I recommend 24 to 48 hours, like, minimum for and I'm talking like brand new tasks, not things that are planned in advance, but like 24 to 48 hours minimum, depending on the project. Even if it's a quick task, just tell your clients, like, I normally, maximum I'll get 20, how am I trying to word this? Oh my God. I will get this done in like maximum 24 hours, but usually before. You can say something like that, because I guess 24 hours can sound like a lot. You're sleeping for like 6 to 8 of it, right? So I would just say 24 to 48 hours minimum, depending on the project. And then another one within time is communication. So what is your preferred method of communication? It shouldn't only be up to the client. This is a collaboration. You're the boss. So what's your preferred method of communication? Is it Voxer, WhatsApp, which for those of you who don't know, Voxer and WhatsApp are voice messaging and like text messaging apps that you can download to your phone, and you can share your username with people without having to give out your phone number, because as I've mentioned a million times before, don't be giving out your phone number. Please don't do that. That's also a boundary, because if you give out your personal phone number, you can't, usually most people don't silence their text messages, right? If it's on an app, you can silence the notifications at a certain time, or you can just silence them for good and then only check them when you go into that app. So that's why we do that. Also, we just don't want clients calling us and texting us. I don't know about you, but I like to keep personal and business as separate as possible. Sorry guys, I got like stuff in my throat today, so if I'm stopping to take a lot of water breaks, that's why. But we want to keep personal and business as separated as possible. So do not give out your personal phone number. We don't want that. Clients will text you, even if it's after hours. They'll be like, oh, well, don't get to this till tomorrow, but once you wake up, I need this, this, and this. And then that pops up and we see it and we're like, oh, you immediately feel like that anxiety or that sense of urgency to go do it. So don't do that. That's the beauty of having everything in apps, is you can silence, if you have, especially, I don't know about Androids, I haven't had one in a while, but if you have an iPhone, you can turn on like focus mode and then like downtime mode or do not disturb. Basically, you can set it up in your phone to where you only get notifications during certain times, like say 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then after that, your notifications turn off and you can only see them if you go in. So they won't into like the app, so it won't pop up. So I recommend doing that if you can. But yeah, never give out your personal phone number. Do you want to communicate via email, Zoom, project management system? I personally use a mix. So I use a mix of Voxer, email, Zoom, and a project management system, but to communicate with my clients, it's normally Voxer or email throughout the day. And then if we need to hop on a Zoom call for a weekly meeting or just for something that's going to take a little longer to talk through or more in depth or to show them, like share my screen, then we'll hop on Zoom. So set your preferred method of communication. And then also, how long will it take you to respond to messages? Whether it's email, whether it is, I know we talked about response time a little bit, but even with the Voxer, the email, the Zoom, like I would say for that 12 to 24 hours. And I know if some clients are like, oh wow, it's going to take you 12 hours to read my messages. Like, yes, I have more than one client. Okay. That's the other thing you sometimes need to remind your clients of, like you have multiple clients. So 12 to 24 hours is normal for a response to an email or even a message. And if you feel weird about it, a good way to say it is like, yes, I will respond at most 24 hours, but usually before, or at most 12 hours, but normally before that. And then also, how often will you have client meetings? So meetings take a lot of time, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. So decide how often you are going to offer to have a client like check-in meeting. A lot of virtual assistants do weekly meetings with their clients, like on Mondays or Wednesdays or whatever. You can do monthly, so you can be like, okay, we'll have them 3 times a month, give them a call scheduler to go to and book those 3 times. It's kind of, you collaborate with your client and it's kind of up to you and the client. It's definitely up to you, but if you want to negotiate with your client on how often you have meetings, that's fine too. But I would not recommend doing more than 1 weekly meeting. I've had virtual assistants come to me and like post in Facebook groups and be like, oh, well, my client wants an hour, me to attend an hour team meeting on Mondays with the entire team, and then we're going to have a one-on-one on Wednesdays, and then we're going to have a check-in on Fridays. Like, that is too much. That is way too much of your time, and that's like time wasted. That is not going to be productive or helpful for you or your clients. So I recommend no more than 1 weekly meeting per client. So, and you can include these weekly meetings in like your packages. Also, you should be charging for these meetings. Don't just be like, oh yeah, when I go have my weekly meeting with my client, it's free. Like, no, turn on your timer, like track your hours, charge for these meetings. That's a whole nother like training about offers, but just wanted to mention that note. Charge for them. And speaking of charging, the next like boundary category I want to go into is money. So new freelancers especially sometimes compromise on the rates when starting out. So you compromise to gain more because you think, you know, it'll help you gain more clients. You want testimonials, you want to get more experience, whatever. And that's okay. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're like, oh, well, I'd love to charge $30 an hour, but I don't feel like I have the experience, that's fine. It is totally up to you and what you feel comfortable with, but you should still set a minimum rate that you will not go below. So, for example, you won't ever go below $15 an hour or $20 an hour. And you can also add like time conditions to this. My throat is killing me. Sorry, guys. Okay. So let's say you don't go below $15 an hour. You can also add time conditions to this. So, or like quantity conditions. So let's say 2 months. So for 2 months, I'm not going to go below $15 an hour. And then after that, I'm going to raise it because as you gain more experience, as you gain more clients, you should be raising that price. So you can do it by time. So like 2 months, 3 months, or you can do it by clients. So after 2 clients or after 3 clients, okay, now I'm raising that minimum to 20 or 25 and then 30. Like the more experience, the more you raise that minimum rate. Let me know if you have questions about that. And then after minimum rate, what methods of payment will you accept? So will you accept credit cards? Will you accept direct deposit? You should probably accept both of those. PayPal, are you going to accept that? Never, ever, ever take check or cash if this isn't someone you personally know. So like, you know, if you're like your parents, you know, say your parent has a business or your uncle and they're like, hey, I want to hire you to do this and you live in the same town and blah, blah. Okay, sure. Take a check or cash if they really want to pay you in that. But if not, like if this is someone on the internet, which most of like random on the internet, most of your clients will be, do not take a cash or check from them because, this isn't someone you personally know and it's sketchy. So don't do that. And then, okay, so method of payment, credit card, direct deposit, PayPal. How frequently will you be paid? So do you want to be paid monthly, bi-weekly, every week? Like, this is up to you. This is up to you. So tell the client, like it's up to you to communicate that to the client. Don't let the client be like, oh, well, you say, oh, I'm normally paid monthly. And they're like, oh, well, let's say you're normally paid bi-weekly. And they're like, oh, well, I'd rather pay you like monthly or something like, I mean, it's up to you if you want to negotiate that, but I would still set something. If the client asks like, hey, how do you want to be paid? Then set something. Don't just be like, oh, well, what works for you? Like, no, say, well, I'm usually paid monthly. And if they're like, oh, well, I'd rather pay bi-weekly, it's up to you to negotiate that if you want to. Like, but at least set a minimum, like if they're not going to fight it or like bring up what they want, because some may just ask you like, okay, well, when do you get paid? And just say monthly if you have a preference, or bi-weekly or whatever you choose. If it is once a month, then you need to communicate when you'll be paid. So will it be the first of the month? Will it be the middle of the month, the 15th? Like, when are you going to send the invoice? And then also, how many days until it's due? I recommend between 3 to 5, no more than 7 at all, but I definitely would keep it between 3 to 5 days. So from the invoice sent, so business days, of course. So, you know, you send it on a Monday and then it's due by the latest on Wednesday or Thursday, right? 3 business days or something. And then also, if you will require a deposit from clients to get started, some virtual assistants like to, because it is the internet, right? I mean, I know these are other businesses, but there's some scammers and sketchy people out there. So will you require a deposit from the clients to get started? This kind of just ensures like, okay, they're up front, they're willing to pay you before you do the work, because you don't want to be left doing all the work and then get no payment for it. I've seen that happen to people. Use your instincts and, just your gut to try to, when you're like looking at job postings and working with clients for that. But some people require a deposit, and that's up to you. But if you do require, if you do require a deposit, you definitely need to communicate that. And then, okay. Also, projects and services. Make sure, this kind of falls into the money category. So make sure you're clearly communicating what is included and not included in your any projects you take on. So for example, if someone hires you to build a landing page or write a blog post or something, let's say landing page. Someone hires you to build a landing page, which is like a sales page, right? Will you be doing the copywriting too? Or will that need to be provided by the client? Be very clear, because, for example, like I help people build courses, online digital courses. I help them format the modules. I help them upload it, do all the tech, all of that. I do not do copywriting because I fucking hate it. I hate copywriting. I'm not great at it. It's like not my strong suit, to write it for other people, like, take in other people's voices and stuff. Like, I don't do that, so I do not include it. And that's okay. So, don't let it happen to where you hop on a discovery call with client, and you're like, okay, yeah, I offer this, this, and this, and they want you to do this. And they're like, oh, okay, but I also need someone to do the copywriting. And you're like, well, I don't really love to do that. Make sure you're communicating that you don't like to do it. Don't just be like, oh, well, I could probably figure that out. Like, no, if you hate to do it and you don't want to do it and that's not included, then don't do that. So make sure you're clearly communicating those boundaries as well for your projects and services. Okay, last, boundary type, and most important, after water, hold on, is energy. Your energy is the most important thing that you can set boundaries around, because if you lose that, if you are burnt out, you're like fucking drained, it's like you're gonna spiral. Your business is gonna spiral, like your work with clients won't be as good, like it won't be good. So protect your energy, and to do this, ask yourself like what clients and what type of work energizes me, what lights me up. If you notice like that clients or a certain type of work is constantly leaving you feeling drained and just not happy at the end of the day, take steps to fix that. And by steps, I mean let go. Let go of that service. Let go of that client. Whatever it is, let go of that and, re-energize yourself. So, for example, I have a client who recently, she hates doing copywriting, and she was just holding on to it because it was with her first client, and she's been doing it for a while for this person. She was doing social media services, but she was also including writing posts, and she hated it. It was draining her. She hated doing it every single week. And she finally was like, okay, I'm going to have a conversation. And she talked to her client and dropped that copywriting. She's like, hey, I'm not going to offer this anymore. I'm not great at it. It really drains me. I can't do it anymore. So I understand if you want to let me go, or if you want to find somebody else who can include copywriting, but if not, I can still do this, this, and this for you. She's still working for the client, as far as I know. So, the client didn't totally, and if the client is like, well, I would like to find somebody who does copywriting, that's fine. That's totally fine, because it's okay to let go of a client when it's not, working for you. If it's not serving you, if it's really taking a toll on your energy and your emotions and stuff. So that's okay. So let go of the services or clients that are draining your energy. Because like I said, if you lose energy, you lose drive for your business, you lose your ability to show up every day, and that will just, that won't be good for you, your clients, or your business. So that's kind of the boundaries to set, guys. And I want to real quick go over tips for communicating these to clients, because this is where everyone gets nervous. This is where maintaining those boundaries sometimes slips because people are too nervous to draw that line and to reinforce those boundaries when clients try to cross them. So, like I said, the number one important thing is they need to be clearly communicated right from the beginning. Don't mention it quickly, like on a call or in one email. Odds are these clients need to hear your boundaries multiple times from you. They need it in a place they can see it all the time. And you also need to be reminding yourself too. So your boundaries should be included in your welcome packet. They should be like your client welcome packet that you send out. They should be added to your onboarding call agenda. So when you do your onboarding call, mention them in that call. There should be no confusion on when you work, how you work, how they communicate with you, all of that. Another tip is to add your hours and vacation time to your email signature. I like to do this just because, you know how to edit your email signature in Google, like Gmail or Canva. If you add it to Gmail, it's very quick. And so if you have a vacation, like I have one coming up, excuse me, I have a family reunion coming up next month. If I'll just put in there like vacation times or vacation dates, and then I will put like July whatever to whatever. Like put your vacation dates in there. That way every time you're emailing a client, they constantly see that in your signature. It's constantly there. You also obviously need to communicate it to them in advance. Let them know as far as possible in advance when you're taking vacations so they can prepare and you can prepare to be gone and like keep everything running smoothly. If you do not clearly communicate your boundaries from the very beginning or you let them slip, then you get burnt out, you get exhausted, and then you decide you want to enforce them after the fact. So you don't communicate them from the beginning. You're like kind of loose on them. And then you're like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like now I want to set the boundaries. I really want to stick to the boundaries. Well, when you go to that client that you've been working for months, and then you just suddenly decide like, oh, okay, well, I don't respond for, I know I've been, gosh, guys, I don't know what the heck is going on with my throat. Sorry. But you're like, hey, I know I usually get to this ASAP, but I've decided just, now that I am not going to get to these until 24 to 48 hours. The client's gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like, suddenly? Like, what are you talking about? You can't just go in and drop that on. Like, hey, oh, I know I've been doing this super fast, but now I'm gonna take this long to do it, or now I'm not gonna respond to you till this time, like, when I've been responding. They aren't used to that. You can't just, like, throw it on them immediately. Like, you have to ease them into that if you already have clients and you haven't set boundaries. But that's why it's so important to set them from the very beginning and don't let them slip, because then then you suddenly want to enforce them, and that's the point you come off as a bitch, right? That's the point where the client is like, what the fuck is happening? I don't like this. Like, if I had known this from the beginning, it would have been different, but now I'm used to this and I don't know what you're trying to do. Like, it creates confusion, it creates resentment for you, and it creates resentment for the client. Like, if you haven't been previously communicating and forcing them, then clients will, I'm telling you, they will feel blindsided, and you don't want that for you or your business. So that's why it's super important to communicate them from the beginning. If I can stress like anything about this training, it's communicate your freaking boundaries from the very start and don't let them slip. If a client breaches a boundary, we have to have like that fun conversation, right? Because it can happen. I mean, you can still set them from the beginning, put them everywhere, put them in the call, the client welcome packet, and a client still may like breach it. Just because, I don't know, they're busy or they aren't thinking, or maybe they think they can get away with it, whatever. If they do cross that line, immediately address it. Don't address it in 6 days. Don't address it in a month. Like, immediately address it. If you let it slip once, it'll slip again, and it'll slip again. Like, even the best, most like soulmate dream client you have, if you let that slip, they will continue to breach the boundaries if you're letting them do it. It is, like I said before, it is up to you to enforce these. You cannot blame your client if you're not enforcing these boundaries. You can't blame them. If they cross that line, you need to kindly remind them of your boundaries and like redirect them to those boundaries. So, for example, if you have a client who emails you or they message you right before you're done working the day, so let's say you work till 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, 4 p.m., right? Let's say they message you at 3:59 or send an email because, they do that. That happens all the time. Let's say they send an email at 3:59 p.m. on a Friday, if you work Fridays, and they say, hey, I need this done latest by like end of the day Saturday, like it's really urgent. You do not say like, oh yeah, no problem. Okay, it's quick. I'll get to it right away. Like it's super quick. Like it won't take me long, so I'll just do it real fast. No, we don't say that. You immediately say something like, hey, I would really love to help you with this. The earliest I'll be able to get to it is Monday, as discussed in our onboarding call and the client welcome packet. I don't work past 4 p.m. on Fridays, and nor do I work weekends. This protects my time and my energy so I can show up and do my best during our work hours. This is very polite, but it also redirects them back to the boundaries that you already set. Like, hey, it lets them know like, oh, I have told you this multiple times, like in a nice way though, right? It's not like, hey, I already told you I don't work Fridays. Like, something like, so be kind, be polite, but redirect them back to those boundaries. And then another important tip is I have clients who come to me, virtual assistants, who come to me who are frustrated and they're annoyed that they're working until 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And like my first question is, well, did you set boundaries? Yes. Okay. Did you clearly communicate them to your client? Yes. Okay. So they agreed to them. Like they saw them in client welcome packet on the call. They agreed to them. Well, yeah, they did. Why are you working? Why are you working at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday? Like, stop. You have to reinforce your own boundaries. Stop checking emails after hours. Turn off your freaking email. I honestly recommend not having your email on your phone. And if you do have it on your phone, I know like everyone has it on their phone. If you do have it on your phone, set those notifications like I was talking about earlier, set them to go silent or like not show the little bubbles, because I've had that where it's like, oh, 5 new emails. I'm like, fuck, I want to check them, but I shouldn't, So set it to where you don't get notifications, but honestly, I recommend not having like your email on your phone. So stop checking emails after hours. Stop replying to messages in the evening. Oh, that's another quick tip for those of you who are new as virtual assistants or want to start a virtual assistant business. Separate emails. Do not start your virtual assistant business with like your personal email. Don't do that. Always a separate email. Create a free Gmail, a new free Gmail account. Like, don't ever do it for your personal. So anyway, that goes into like not checking work emails after hours. But stop replying to messages in the evening. Even if the client's asking you to do like something right now, they will, if you reply like at that time, like even if they're not asking you to do something, like let's say they message you, after hours on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. or something, and they're like, hey, can you do this in the morning? I would love for you to do this, this, and this. Don't respond. That's fine. They're sending the message, whatever. But if you see it, don't respond. Don't be like, oh yeah, great, I'll start work on it tomorrow. Like, just don't respond. You don't have to. Like, it's not rude, it's not impolite, just don't respond. You'll get to them in the morning, okay? You'll get to them when you're available, because what happens is if you respond after those hours, even if it's not in response to like, oh, I have to do something, if you're responding just to their inquiries or just a message they send after hours, they're going to assume you're available to chat at that time. Like, okay, she's up, she normally talks at this time, oh, I can just send her these messages, she'll always get back. And then they start assuming you're just available at that time. So don't do that, because we're not available after hours, right? And then also stop taking on clients at like $15 per hour if your minimum is supposed to be $20. Stop doing all of that. Like, maintain your boundaries, okay? You have to not only create these, but reinforce them. your clients cannot read your mind. They are not mind readers. You have to be the person to reinforce it before they understand, like, oh, okay, these are set in stone. If you don't, like, they can't read your mind. And that's where a lot of people also come to me and they're like, oh, well, my client sucks. Like, she's so unorganized and she's always like contacting me last minute and like after hours. It's like, okay, well, are you fucking responding to those messages? Because if you are, like, that's why they're contacting you. They assume you're available. So they can't read your mind. Reinforce those. Like I said, a tip is to remove things that trigger you for work. So your phone, your laptop, shut off your laptop at 4 p.m. Put your phone on like no notifications, something like that. Remove all triggers by 4 or 5. Don't have work emails. Don't open your laptop on your weekends. Or if you do, I think you can set some, I know on MacBooks, you can set like a work mode and like downtime mode on MacBooks as well, to where you don't have like your work apps on there, something like that. But like I said, if you start thinking it's no big deal, like even one time, you'll start spiraling. So, super important to clearly communicate these and maintain these boundaries. So that is it for this training, guys. Next week's training is on tech tools, and then we have another one. Let me look at it because I forgot what the next one is. Tech tools and pricing hourly versus packages and what is best for your business. That's going to be a good one because it's a question I get all the time. About like, oh, do I price hourly? How do I price in packages? What do I put in a package? All of that. So that'll be a good one. Really valuable. And then, yeah, the favorite tech tools are like must-have tech tools for virtual assistants. Those are going to be next week. I believe on Tuesday is the tech tools, and then Thursday will be the hourly and the packages. But yeah, that is it for this, guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I will see you next week.